Hey, welcome to week 17 BoomBust Fantasy Football. How's it going, Tony?
Good, Corey. How you doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for joining in here at the beginning. Kyle will be joining us in just a little bit. Tony's going to hop on here at the beginning and go over some waiver wire talk. So that's how we're going to kick the show off today. Thanks for hopping on here, Tony.
Yeah, man, I appreciate the invite, and I gotta tell you, I've seen the other side, being a viewer in your intro, being on this side and being part of the intro, and that got me all pumped up.
Hey, man, I tell you, you got to get those vibes going,
100%.
Really, really good lead in there. So,
Oh, love it.
so let's get into some waiver wire talk.
Let's do it.
Championship week for most leagues, and I know we were just talking about some of these injuries that have happened, and you just never know with COVID what's going on and who's being affected. There's still some players that haven't been reactivated, so we don't know what's going on with them. So what kind of guys can people pick up this week?
Yeah, well, first, let's just kind of talk a little bit about just the idea of waivers at this point in the season.
Yeah, that's a good point.
If you are fortunate enough to get into this championship matchup, whether it's a 1 week or a 2 week matchup, I mean, you're going to be doing a couple of things. Of course, you want to really try and build out your depth. We saw so many teams get decimated by COVID these past 2 weeks. I saw Carson Wentz went on today. Not sure if he's going to make it back, and that really does have a trickle down effect on an entire team. But not only do you want to build out your own depth, but you also want to kind of take a look at your opponent and
Yeah.
areas where they might be strong or weak, and how you might be able to block them using the waiver wire claims and free agency to
Yep.
secure guys that they might not be able to get, so that you can kind of weaken their starting roster.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree with that completely. In fact, I did that. We were in one league where our waivers run after Monday Night Football instead of tonight. And Kyle and I are playing in the championship against each other in there. And he lost James Robinson this week, and he had no fab left, and I did. And I went and gobbled up every good running back off of waivers just to hurt him this week. So it's a good defensive move. I
has
had too many running backs in there. I probably have 7 start worthy running backs on my roster, and it didn't matter. I went and gobbled them up. So
What's interesting is, so I lost my matchup this week, but I was in the semifinal round, and so one of the things I did, but the league that I play in, if you drop a player, um, after the waivers open, that player is locked until the following week's waiver claims.
oh wow.
So it doesn't clear in a day or two, so that people can actually go and grab them before the matchups for the week. So the way that really you can kind of use that is I can then run through, add and drop players, knowing that my opponent can't pick up any of them
I
because
love
I've
it.
locked them for the week on them. So there's a lot of strategy that way that goes into it. And so so again, as you're looking at the waiver claims, you want to kind of rank them and then figure out not only who could help you in building out your own depth or replace either an injured player or a COVID player, but how can you block your opponent?
Yep, agree. It's a good strategy.
So let's kind of jump right into it. I
Yeah.
think it's slim pickings obviously this time of the year, and if we take a look just at the running back position or start there, of course with James Robinson out for the season, I think Dare Ogunbowale is probably someone that you have to really seriously picking up. Got a somewhat of a neutral matchup this week against that Patriot defense. They haven't been very, very strong against opposing running backs, especially as of late the last 2 weeks. So you can certainly do worse. He absolutely is going to get the lion's share of that workload in Jacksonville. He played 83% of the snaps in week 16, had almost 20 touches.
Yeah,
So, you've got to like that type of usage.
absolutely. I mean, 17 carries and 4 targets. I mean, he had 2 catches, but that's good usage.
That's really good usage. And look, Devin Singletary did not play that poorly against that New England defense. He almost 20 points fantasy PPR. That's not bad for a guy that you can grab off of waivers and use as a plug-in if you're hurting at the running back position.
Absolutely agree.
If and not even just James Robinson, but if you're down a Miles Sanders even, or Dalvin Cook, I don't think has been activated yet from
I
the
think you're right.
COVID reserve. So those types of players, like, it's hard to find a guy at this point in the season that's going to give you that type of usage and those number of touches.
Yeah. So Cook tested positive and was unvaccinated. So they said he still has a chance to play
Mm-hmm.
week 17, but it's not guaranteed. So yeah, you're still looking. I think you're planning on not having him.
Well, this is also in the midst, though, of the NFL changing their COVID policy. I know they
Yeah.
just shortened that for vaccinated players from 10 days to 5 days.
Yep.
But we'll see. I mean, it's
Yep.
you want to. I think you want to plan for the worst and hope for the best, right? That's the expression.
Yep.
So
Exactly.
plan not to have them and hope you do get them. In the
Yep.
meantime, you do have to make plans. And if you've got players on your roster that are not going to be starting for you, whether it's a week or 2 weeks, you've got some depth at other positions. This is the time to be unloading guys that you're not going to be using.
Yep. Absolutely agree. Yeah, because you won't need them. I mean, so don't hog up players you don't need for sure.
Yeah, you want to be
All right.
strategic here.
Absolutely. Who else you got on your list there?
Well, I think the other guy that you have to really think about, I think there are probably a couple other guys, and we can talk about him, and I'd like to get your feedback as well. But Boston Scott is another guy. Miles Sanders going down with that hand injury. He did lead the backfield this prior week. Jordan Howard certainly got involved, but he was injured in this last matchup, and not quite sure what his status
Right.
for this week is going to be. So Boston Scott is going to be a guy that we saw earlier in the season have some value. So he certainly is maybe a 1A or 1B to Ongumbowale.
Yeah, I have a hard time trusting any of those running backs there because people will go after Boston Scott, Jordan Howard, not knowing which one's going to be,
Yeah,
and lo and behold, Kenneth Gainwell is going to be the lead back.
yeah,
And we've seen it happen. Let's not kid ourselves. Like you just don't know which one it's going to be and when. And personally, I like Boston Scott a lot. I think
hmm
he's pretty decent. He's done well when he gets the chance, and I just don't trust that it's going to be him. And I can't find anything consistent. Looking around on who actually is going to start and who's going to carry the load. I've seen so many different takes on it. And so even the experts don't know. No one really
yeah.
knows. So that backfield makes me nervous. But if you're
Rightfully
looking
so.
for a defensive play, maybe go try to pick one or both up. Drop some of those players you're not going to use. No one's going to use them this week. Just some of those depth players and pick these guys up just as a defensive move. But you would have to be desperate to play either one of them, in my opinion.
Well, again, it depends on your situation, and
Mm-hmm.
and and if desperate times call for desperate measures.
I just feel
Uh,
like there's better guys to go after than them
you could
on
be right.
waivers.
You could be right. It's going to depend on the league and guys who are on waivers. But Boston Scott or Jordan Howard, it looks like Jordan Howard has a real strong possibility of missing this week. And so I think in that situation, Boston Scott is a guy that you can consider.
Yep.
I'm not saying that I trust them, but if Howard and Sanders are out, Scott is going to get the lead role against that Washington on defense.
Yep.
And in that case, if you are desperate and you're not able to get the Jaguars running back, then certainly Boston Scott is a guy to consider. I do surprisingly, I like the Jaguars matchup more against that Patriots defense, especially as of late, as opposed to Scott going up against that Washington defense.
Agree. Actually.
And so the next guy is another one. We kind of talked about him last week. Really recommended anyone grabbing or playing him, and then he went on to have a monster game against the Chargers run defense, and that's Rex Burkhead with
That's
Houston.
who I was thinking of next. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, David Johnson is inactive for another week. I think you can certainly consider Burkhead maybe in a flex type role.
Yeah.
but he's got a real difficult matchup this week against that San Francisco 49er defense, and I don't expect him to run off another 150 yards this week. So definitely don't trust him as much.
I don't trust him as much, but I mean, he's going to get the volume. They have no one else to give it to, right? So, I think he's less risky than like a Boston Scott or Jordan Howard, where you don't know who's going to get. But kind of going back to that, I think Boston Scott may be worth the gamble because Jordan Howard possibly won't play this week. But
well, yeah, just to be clear, that's when we're talking about Boston Scott,
yes,
as if both Sanders and Howard are out.
yeah. But if you're
Howard
going
could
to say,
go, then
yeah,
they kind of cancel each other out. So we're not talking about Scott if Howard is cleared to play
correct.
and active. It's
But
only if he's
Burkhead should
inactive.
be the guy.
Yeah, and Burkhead, same thing. It's only assuming that David Johnson is also going to be inactive.
Yeah, I think David Johnson was placed on the COVID list. Is that right? Yeah, placed on the COVID list Monday. So, ooh, yeah, that could be interesting because I think he has time to get back. So,
Right.
whew,
But again, what we're
thanks
talking about
COVID.
these guys is with the assumption that they are going to be the only active running back.
Right.
Rex Burkhead without David Johnson and Boston Scott without Sanders or Howard.
Yep. But at this point, now, I mean, you're gonna gamble with your fab or your waiver picks. I mean, you're gonna do it anyways, because you're in need of it most likely. So,
Right.
Yep. So Burkhead was the one I was gonna bring up there too. You got any more running backs on your list that you're kind of
I've got
looking
one
at?
other guy that I would consider, and it's mostly just because of the situation in Washington with McKissick now on IR. Antonio Gibson has been banged up on and off the season. Weren't sure if he was going to actually be a go this past Sunday. And if you have Gibson, just a guy to think about is Jared Patterson. Washington has a couple of nice matchups here, weeks 17 and 18, and he might be a guy that might be worth rostering just to have that depth. Or even if your opponent has Antonio Gibson, grabbing a Jared Patterson to block him in case anything should happen to Gibson.
Yeah.
But I don't know of anybody other than those guys that I would think about at the running back position.
Yeah, I agree. Alrighty, let's move on to some wide receivers then at the waiver wire. Who's first on your list there, you think?
There are a couple of guys there. I think it's going to depend on who's available on your waivers. It looks like Mike Williams might not return
Yep.
for another week. And so that certainly gives Josh Palmer a nice boost. He was heavily involved in that offense this past week. And so he's a guy that I do like. Even Kadarius Toney. I mean, somebody might have bailed on Kadarius Toney, and he commanded 9 targets again this past week. Over targeted on more than 30% of his routes run. So the Bears have been weak in the secondary against opposing wide receivers. So Kadarius Toney, I think, is a sneaky guy. And then 2 other receivers. Of course, we saw Isaiah McKenzie. We talked about him on Monday night, last night, kind of came out of nowhere and just exploded onto the scene with 11 catches on 12 targets, 125 yards. Now Cole Beasley was out, and certainly that opened up the door for Mckenzie. But even so, I wasn't expecting that type of production from him.
Yeah, Gabriel Davis was out too, right?
Gabriel Davis was also out.
Yeah.
Both of those receivers were out. Yes, but he's got a great matchup this week against the Atlanta Falcons. I expect Josh Allen to have a smash game, and so this could be a great spot for Isaiah McKenzie, depending on the status of those other 2 receivers. And another interesting player, if you're desperate at the receiver position, is Alan Lazard at Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
He certainly seemed to be the clear number 2 receiver behind Aaron Rodgers. Now, of course, MVS was not in the lineup, but I'd keep a close eye on that. And if MVS is out again this week, he's got a nice matchup against that Minnesota defense.
Agree.
They are the best matchup for opposing wide receivers on the season. And if MBS is active, MBS is a guy to consider on waivers. So
Yeah, because he's probably available out there.
yeah, I think they probably both of them are most likely available out there.
Yeah, I think theme of tonight is everything is if this guy's out due to injury or COVID, this is your guy. I feel like that's just theme of tonight. Like it all kind of depends on those
For the
updates.
most part, with the exception of Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney certainly has a role in that offense. I don't know that I'm trusting him, but we're just kind of covering the waiver options out there.
Yeah, and Dare, whatever that last name is for that running back there. I feel like that's also not that's a determined. But another one Albert brought up, going back to running backs really quick, is Daryl Williams. Clyde Edwards-Helaire listed as week to week. They haven't really ruled him out, but it's also kind of looking like maybe he may not play this week.
Right.
But
Absolutely. That's not a good spot. Gore was also involved there.
yep,
So
yeah. So that's a good call, Robert. Good call on that.
definitely.
Yeah, I don't really have any other wide receivers I'm super excited about, if I'm being
No.
honest. So let's look at some tight ends.
Sure. We can do that. Um, Cole Kmet, I think, is probably widely rostered at this point.
I agree.
But he was very active in that game. That game on Sunday. Gerald Everett seemed to have a nice role this past week, and he has a very, very nice matchup against that Detroit Lion defense. Um, and the other guy that I think is kind of sneaky under the radar, even maybe if it's just DFS, but another guy that you can really consider if you're hurting at the tight end position is Mo Alley Cox with the Colts. Now that might change now due to Wentz's COVID diagnosis,
Yeah,
but this guy had elite involvement in that offense for a tight end. And he's got a nice matchup this week against that Vegas defense, who really they've been a top 5 matchup all season for opposing tight ends. So, if Doyle is out, because I know that he was injured in Sunday's game against Arizona. So if he misses this week, he might be a sneaky under the radar guy that you can consider.
yeah. What do you think about Gerald Everett? I mean, I also feel like he's kind of been scooped up, but possibly not at the same time. What are your thoughts on Gerald Everett in that offense?
I mean, yeah, I like Gerald Everett. Certainly, they seem to be making a strong effort to get him the ball. He did have 5 targets. They used him down in the kind of red zone area. Did have a touchdown grab. He ran almost 80% of
Snaps.
he almost ran almost and on Russell Wilson's dropbacks, almost 80% of his dropbacks. Gerald Everett was out there running a route. So again, that's really elite usage for a tight end. Cole Kmet, the same type of usage. So, with that type of usage, certainly he's someone that you can seriously consider.
Yeah, yeah.
And again, you gotta really look at that matchup, taking on the Detroit Lions.
Exactly. That was my next thought is Detroit. That's a great matchup there.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you have any other tight ends that jump out at you this week?
Nobody else that really jumps out at me as far as waiver wires.
Yeah. Do you want to cover any defenses?
We can do that.
Yeah.
I know Kyle usually likes to talk about defenses a little bit. I think it's hard for me because in my league we play to, we have forced rosters, so we're required to roster 2 defenses.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not sure what defenses are readily available, but I'll give you a couple of defenses that you might be able to play depending on, whether or not they're available in your league. So a couple of good streaming defenses. One would be the Carolina Panthers. I think they've been abandoned in some leagues, especially with that matchup against Tampa Bay, might have been dropped. but they've got a great matchup this week against that New Orleans Saints offense. The Saints have been one of the best matchups for opposing defenses this year, especially over their past 4 or 5 games. Another defense that you can really look at are the Chicago Bears.
Yep, that's who was on top of my list there.
Yeah, I mean the Giants' offensive line ranked one of the worst in the league, and I don't know if it's going to be Jake Fromm or Mike Lennon, but whatever the case is, the Bears are definitely a solid defense, and they've also been very, very good at the pass rush and generating sacks this year. So, that's another defense I think you could think about streaming. And then last are the Cleveland Browns. I've seen them available. I've kind of helped a friend of mine in his league, and we've kind of been streaming defenses all year, and we've been kind of on or off the Browns depending on the matchup.
Yep.
But going up against Ben Roethlisberger, that offense is definitely beginning to hit a brick wall, and they're having some issues. So that's another defense that you could consider for streaming purposes.
I'm also not hating Seattle playing against Detroit, especially if Goff is back out. I don't hate that matchup either. Also, kind of depends on if Swift is out there too. If Swift is out again, I love that matchup.
Yeah,
that Detroit offense is just not pretty. All you got to worry about is Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's about it. That's about all I got right now.
Completely agree.
So, not a bad defensive stream there either. So that's all I really got there. I'm not going to cover kickers. They're all kind of the same.
Yeah, I agree.
They're all going to get you 2 to 12 points pretty much.
Right.
So, and it's just a crapshoot. Just go get your best kickers and pray that they do well for you. That's about it.
Sure.
So yeah, that's all I got for really waiver wires. I don't have anyone else that I'm really going after there. Anyone that really jumps out at me there. I guess. Well, let's cover any quarterbacks you think might have a chance this week, because Wentz being out, I'm still not sure on Jackson if he's out. Let's take a look at some quarterbacks really quick, because I kind of skipped over them earlier. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know of any quarterbacks really that you're gonna. What's that?
Garoppolo's also out. So
yeah, I don't know of any quarterbacks that you're gonna play and stream. You should be pretty set at the quarterback position. I think you can maybe talk about, do you start Joe Burrow, or do you start Derek Carr, or do you start, Dak Prescott, which of your quarterbacks you start. But I don't know of any quarterbacks out there that you're going to stream. I'm not streaming. I'm not trusting a Trey Lance.
I'm thinking maybe some 2 QB leagues where people just maybe lost one, maybe both. Gosh, if you lost both, that would be really sad. But
yeah, I'll be honest with you. Like even if you're in a two, well, I guess it depends on how many teams you have. Because I play in a 2 QB league, and all the QBs are rostered. Like you can't even get a quarterback. But I mean, if you're in a league where, where it is a 2 QB or a super flex, you're just going to grab whichever active quarterback or who hasn't been rostered. But it's very difficult to find quarterbacks that have not been rostered in those types of leagues. I guess the guy at the top of the list would have to be a Trey Lance, just because I think he probably gives you some upside. But other than him, I don't really know who else you're going to pick up off waivers at the quarterback position.
Yeah, because at this point, Tua isn't left on waivers. Justin Fields isn't
not
on
in
waivers.
Those leagues. Not if you're in a 2 QB or super flex league. Those guys are all rostered.
Yeah, they're gone. I'm in a 12-man 2 QB league, and yeah, I mean, even Trey Lance isn't available out there already.
Exactly. Right, exactly. So you're those guys are a premium. So those guys just are not available at all.
Yep. You're up a creek without a paddle if that's your situation. Sorry. Maybe you can go get one of those Carolina QBs and just hope for the best. Sam
Yeah,
Darnold, maybe he gets plugged in there.
no way, no way, no way you're doing that for your fantasy championship matchup. No
You heard
way,
it here first, folks.
no
Sam
way.
Darnold, Kyle's super loser of the week.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah, I think other than Trey Lance, I don't know of anybody that I would consider. I think Trey Lance mostly because of his upside,
Yeah,
but I don't know that I'm reaching for a guy even like that.
yeah, no doubt.
Does have a nice matchup against Houston, but
Albert did say Eagles against Washington. Yeah, I doubt Eagles defense is available out there, but that is a good stream. That I'm streaming them in multiple leagues for my championship. And yeah, then the Bears defense against.
I'll tell you another good defense. I mean,
Yeah,
I've talked about them earlier, but even the Saints, I've seen the Saints available out there and
it's a good matchup.
playing against Carolina. That's a real nice matchup. Um, I
Definitely.
certainly would like them. But as far as the Eagles are concerned, I'm just looking to see if, what's the situation at the quarterback position there. It's not that I
Yep.
dislike it, but I think there are other defenses I'd rather roll with than the Eagles this week.
Yeah. Greg says so this is a 2 defense league. He's going with the Saints and Tampa, Bills on the bench. I mean, those are 3 pretty good matchups. I think I would go with Bills and the Bucks there over the Saints, but could be wrong. I mean, I can't tell the future, but I like all those matchups quite a bit.
I would probably do the same. I don't know that I'm benching Tampa or the Bills, even though I like that Saints matchup.
Yeah. And
Look, the Bills have a great matchup too. I mean, they're up against they're home against Atlanta.
yeah, yes, please.
So
Yeah, love
that's a
that.
team that's been struggling on offense also.
He's also got Josh Allen and Tom Brady for QBs. Uh, so yeah, you might as well start their defenses to go along with it and call it good. Going against Rodgers and Burrow, yeah, it's also a pretty good little. Just got to hope Burrow doesn't have that same game that he had last week.
I'd still rather have the Allen Brady duo. I think those are probably the two of the top starts this week at the quarterback position.
Yeah, absolutely. Jorge wants to know Eagles D or Dolphins D.
Yeah, I
Dolphins
mean
are
that.
playing Tennessee.
What's that?
The Dolphins are playing against Tennessee. I think I like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not a bad matchup. They also had a nice showing against New Orleans, but that Eagles matchup is equally nice.
Yeah.
And those divisional games tend to be a little bit tougher played. I think I'd probably agree with you and stick with the Dolphins. I think I would
Both of
probably
them.
trust them a little bit more.
Yeah, I think the Dolphins have just been more consistent.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
gosh, they're rolling right now. So I think that's where I'm headed there. Let me see. Yeah, Burrow had 71 points in my league. He was on my bench and I still won. Lucky you, because if he had not, you probably would have been just crying. I know I probably would have. Like, oh, I can't believe I sat him and lost in the semis. Here's another one from Jorge. Play Pittman or Mark Andrews, guys, for final.
Boy, I don't know how you bench Andrews.
No.
And Pittman is a real concern right now with Wentz.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I mean, even if Wentz comes back, Jorge, Vegas, that's a bottom 5 matchup for receivers, meaning it's one of the toughest matchups for receivers this season. Raiders are ranked in the top 3 as most difficult matchups versus opposing wide receivers per points allowed. In that game, because of that, because their secondary has been playing so well, could very quickly turn into the Jonathan Taylor show.
Very quickly.
And I don't know of any matchup that kind of I like as much as I like Mark Andrews against any defense right now.
No
And the
doubt.
Rams have been soft to tight ends, so it's definitely a better matchup.
Yeah, love Mark Andrews. Not loving Pittman, especially with Wentz being on the COVID list. But even with Wentz in, like I said, I'm playing against Jonathan Taylor in multiple finals this week, so he's probably looking at a 5-touchdown week against me. So I think that's going to be a Jonathan Taylor show this week with that Vegas matchup.
And this offense in Baltimore now runs through Mark Andrews.
100%. No matter who the QB is, it runs through Mark Andrews.
He's averaged 11 targets a game the past 3 weeks.
How many touchdowns has he scored in those 3 weeks?
4.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, he's just tearing it up.
He can't bench Andrews
at all. Let's see. I've seen multiple people say Cook is out. I still don't know. They said they can activate him on Saturday, so we don't know for sure yet. Greg also says I have Keenan Allen. Hope he does better this week. Me too, my man. Hoping Keenan Allen has a much better week. Herbert needs to have a good week for us. Let's see, Knox or Gronk.
The problem with Herbert, he's got a tough matchup this week too.
I know it's killer. I think.
Yeah. I actually better matchups.
Yeah, it's not great for your finals week to have that matchup.
Denver's a tough matchup for both quarterbacks and wide receivers.
And not great for running backs, honestly. It's not great for anybody. That defense is pretty stout. Knox or Gronk this week, you think?
I don't think I could bench Gronk.
I don't either. Mike Evans out. Godwin out.
Out, and you're going against the Jet defense.
Yeah, I mean,
they've been one of the most favorable matchups for opposing tight ends.
Yeah.
So no way I'm sitting Gronk in that matchup. I kind of said Andrews is my number one tight. I think it's everybody's number one tight end right now.
Yeah.
Along with Kelsey, assuming Kelsey plays this week. I know he's dealing with an undisclosed injury right now, but Gronk is right up there with them.
So here's a tougher one coming in on Instagram real quick. Gronk or Kittle?
Well, that is a tougher one. I'm looking at the quarterback situation. If Garoppolo is out, then absolutely Gronk.
Yeah, I agree.
You got 2 elite tight ends, both with great matchups.
Yep.
But I'd much rather have the one catching passes from the GOAT than one catching passes from Trey Lance.
And talk about the chemistry there between Brady and Gronk, and Kittle hasn't. I mean, Trey Lance and Kittle don't have that at all. I mean, yeah, I think you have to roll Gronk there.
And just one other thing, Kittle's been trending in the wrong direction. He had that explosion in Week 13 at Seattle, and then since then he's been kind of trending back down. So Gronk to me is the guy.
Yep, I 100% agree with that. I love Kittle. Don't get me wrong. I'm a Kittle lover. No, shouldn't say that. That sounded weird. I do love some Kittle. Not much better, but I'm still going with it over Kittle lover. Anyways, but I'm going Gronk over Kittle. Yeah, Sony Michel ran all over Minnesota. Yep. Amon-Ra, is he still up? Not sure what that means exactly.
They might have been asking if we were talking about him. If he's available in your league as a waiver wire claim, he's a number one guy.
Yeah, you have to get him if he's still available. Jeez.
Number one guy.
Yeah. Another one over on Instagram, Claypool or Devonta Smith? Probably Devonta Smith.
Yeah, those are not very good options.
I know.
But I would agree with you on Devonta Smith. Washington's been very, very soft. Their secondary against opposing receivers. And, that Cleveland defense, to me, it poses more of a threat. And that offense, just the Pittsburgh offense in general, has really they've just looked pathetic, really bad the past few weeks. So I would shy away from that Pittsburgh offense altogether, with the exception of maybe, Najee. It's hard to bench Deontay Johnson. But I'm not trusting Claypool in that matchup.
No, Claypool has not been delivering anything. There's no way I can trust him.
Not that Devonta Smith has been blowing it up, but I'd rather roll the dice with him than Claypool.
Yes. In the matchups, I mean, not great, but for Devonta Smith, but I mean, he's not really competing for targets with anyone else like wide receivers that much. I don't know. I think that's not a great pool of players to choose from. So Smith over Claypool.
Yeah.
I really can't even bring any silver lining to it. I'm trying, but I can't find a silver lining. So Albert calling out Sushi Lover. You trust in Lockett this week in your finals? Monish says, hell no. Let's see. Sushi says Lockett gets a pass because he had COVID and was still a little sick. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Nick Folk available. Nick Folk is available, but I have Gay. Just stay because it's a kicker. Who was Nick Folk playing against this week? I can't remember who they're playing against.
Yeah, Folk's got Jacksonville, so it's a good matchup. But Gay's been pretty consistent.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the last 4 weeks: 15 points, 11 points, 12 points.
They're playing at Baltimore. I like
that. Baltimore defense just got shredded by Joe Burrow. I expect Stafford to kind of run that offense up and down the field. I think you'll have more scoring opportunities with Gay.
Yeah, I actually like Gay more than Folk there. Folk, kind of talking about your trending up or down. Folk's been trending down. He started off really good, been playing really good in the last couple of weeks. Last 3 games, not so great. So
Folk hasn't broken double digits since week 12.
Yeah.
So, he's had a couple of high fantasy performances. Week 12, he had 22 points, week 11, 17. Other than that, he's been mostly pedestrian.
Yeah, agreed.
So Gay's been consistent, and don't be fooled by that Baltimore defense. Their secondary is all banged up. I'm rolling Matt Gay because I think he's going to have more scoring opportunities in that matchup with Stafford and company.
Yep. Let's see. Greg says ESPN rankings has Tampa at 1, Saints at 2, Bills at 3. Yeah, I think they're all kind of interchangeable. I still think I'm going with my gut over rankings, and I'm still going to say Bills over Saints. But really, I don't think you're not going to be able
to. The good news,
Greg,
is you got 3 good ones to pick from. So
yeah, I was going to say, what a situation to be in. Boo-hoo, right? So
I would try and think about game script and how those games are going to work and which team might give you the opportunity to kind of put up some points. The Saints have also been struggling on offense. So, I'm just not sure that it's a defense that I want to trust, even though the matchup is pretty good.
Yep. Agree. Let's see. He says the guy I'm facing scored 15 more points than me. Thank goodness I didn't play him. Plus, he had Jay Robinson hurt, play 1 point, Dave Swift out. Yeah. Okay. Let's see. MJ, what's up? Renfro versus Indy, Higgins at Kansas City, Waddle versus Tennessee, and AJ Brown playing Tennessee. Pick 2 full PPR. AJ Brown is not playing against himself, unless it's a mental game.
Pick 2 of those 4, a Waddle and Brown.
Yep. Hands down for me, that's Waddle and Brown.
Those are the 2 guys. Waddle's a must start now. And AJ Brown is just, he just lit it up last week. There's no way you bench that guy.
Yeah, and he's playing against Miami. They're playing against each other.
Yeah, I like having both sides of that game.
I do too.
Renfro is scary for me right now. He seems to be kind of, his stock is kind of collapsing in front of our eyes. And I like Higgins, but there are other options there. So, if I told you that 2 receivers are going to go off this week, it could be Chase and Boyd. It doesn't have to necessarily be Higgins. So
yep.
I think Waddle and Brown are the 2 guys that jump out to me there.
Yeah, I don't like wide receiver groups like that there's 3 good options and you don't know which one's going to have the week that week. That makes me nervous. So, yeah. But yeah, Renfro trending downward and Indy not a great matchup. So I think Waddle and Brown easy there for me. Let's see. Greg has Renfro. Oh, that's him answering one earlier. Again, not really going off of rankings. Yeah, Folk is going to get a better ranking there maybe, but I'm going Matt Gay there. So
Greg, here's a thing just to think about too, though. In a lot of these rankings, I'm telling you, they're using algorithms and they're computer generated. So they're not kind of taking a number of things into consideration that we can take into consideration. For example, the fact that the Baltimore secondary is banged up and Burrow just lit them up for 80 points. Matt Gay with Stafford against Baltimore is going to give you plenty of scoring opportunities. And so, it's a nice matchup for the Patriots, but they just don't have that explosive type offense. And Folk has been, with the exception of just a couple of games, he's almost like the kicker equivalent to Lockett. He's kind of like a boomer bust kicker.
you're kind of right.
22 points or 3 points, one or the other. Matt Gay, the last 4 weeks, look at the numbers.
Solid stuff. Yeah. Got another one over here on Instagram. Dallas defense or Colts defense?
Probably, as much as I hate to go against my Vegas Raiders, I would probably lean Colts just because of the matchup.
Yeah.
Cowboys, Arizona. Although Arizona hasn't really kind of looked great as of late. I don't know. What do you think? You're a Cowboys guy.
So here's where I stand on this. My Cowboys defense is absolutely freaking incredible. But Arizona, they can come out of nowhere. They could be trouble for anybody. They haven't looked great offensively, but Kyler Murray is so explosive and dynamic that who knows when that comes alive. Chase Edmonds looked fantastic. I just don't. I don't know. I trust Las Vegas to suck more than Arizona, so I think I would have to roll with the Colts there.
It is hard to bench that Cowboy defense. I mean, they've been kind of on fire the past 4 weeks, but
it's so tough.
Matchup is tough.
That matchup is not great. And like I said, that offense can come alive at any moment, and that makes me really nervous. So I don't
she's
know.
called me out for giving it to Lockett.
Oh no. Come on, Tony. Hey, what's up, bald guy? Welcome in. How's it going? Let's see. Albert says Rojo, Michelle, Zeke, Mitchell, pick 2, full PPR.
Yeah.
Oh, let's get Kyle's here. Man, let's get him in and get his thought really quick. He'll join us for the last little bit here. Welcome in, Kyle.
What's
Welcome
up, fellas? Sorry I'm so late. I got home as quick as I could.
We don't know it's my grandma's fault.
Thanks for holding down the fort, Tony.
You got it. Let me just get to Albert's question just real quick here.
Oh, take your time.
And then I'll jump off and excuse myself, and you can take over. So he's asking Rojo, Michelle, Zeke, and Mitchell, and unless you guys disagree, the 2 guys I think that I want in that lineup are Rojo and Zeke.
Yeah.
I think I'm going Rojo for show. And I don't know, Sony Michelle. Yeah, I'm going Zeke.
Yeah. Gotta go Zeke.
Ugh. I mean, don't get me wrong. Elijah Mitchell could do fine against Houston. I think you have to play Zeke. Yep.
Is Mitchell a definite go this week?
I don't know that he is. That's what makes me nervous.
Sure. Yeah.
That's why I was like, Like if he was a definite go, then maybe. But I just don't know. And then when he does come back, does he get the full workload? I don't know.
Yeah, so he's questionable. I'm looking at his injury report right here. So he's questionable, dealing with a knee injury. I think what makes me nervous about Mitchell, Albert, is going into your championship game. The one thing you don't want to have happen is to put a player who not only gives you a goose egg, But even a guy who is active for the game and winds up re-injuring himself or goes on a pitch count. So I don't know what to expect from Mitchell this week. If he were fully healthy, then it might be a different conversation.
Yeah.
But I'm really nervous trusting on this guy who might have a very, very low floor because of that knee injury that he's dealing with. So it makes me nervous.
Yeah, and now Michelle probably going to be the workhorse this week against Baltimore. That's also, I mean, it's intriguing, but
Baltimore's weakness is that
Yeah.
that secondary. I think it's going to be a Stafford game.
I agree, and they need to get him rolling again. So I think they're going to just throw the ball.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree with that. So Rojo and Zeke, we got there.
Sushi lovers all over the Lockett again this week. That's a surprise.
Where were you Monday for Panic Room? We were
That's
talking crap about him, Sushi.
That's funny.
Well, if Lockett were going to have a 40-yard bomb in a game, it would be this week since he only posted 6 points last week.
That's true.
Hard for the course for him.
That's very true.
All right, guys.
I'm
going to duck out. I'll let Kyle take over. I appreciate the invite tonight and
womp
and answering questions, but this is the Kyle and Corey show. So
it's been fun, man. I really appreciate you coming on and talking some waivers and then answering some questions with me.
100%. Anytime.
Awesome.
Thanks, Tony. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you tomorrow night for matchups, yeah?
That's right. Me and you tomorrow night.
Love it.
Thanks, everyone.
See you, Tony.
See you. All right. So, yeah, it was more Mom's fault than Grandma's, I'm going to be honest. But
yeah. Here we are. Anyways, just so you guys know, Kyle, Mom, Grandma, whatever, they came and visited tonight to have our Christmas together and everything. And so it's a little bit of a drive. So Kyle was a little late. He had to chauffeur the fam. And so that allowed
had to take Mom and Grandma home. Couldn't leave Mom and Grandma stranded,
Oh,
man. Didn't feel right.
Yep. Here's one. Derrick Henry's available on waivers. Yeah, probably going to perform better than Lockett.
Ha!
Tim Tebow is still available. Yes.
All right. Plant Man in the house.
Let's see.
Up?
In a championship, dropped Lockett, D. Hopkins, and Thielen. I mean, I don't hate it.
Okay with it. I mean, I guess it depends on.
He's got good other wide receivers. I think he said up here he has Renfrow, Debo, and Keenan Allen. And Renfrow has more value in that league because there are return points.
Oh, that's right. Plant Man has that strange league. Gotcha.
Yep. MJ's here listening. Appreciate it.
Isn't Plant Man also the 2 QB, 2 defense league?
Yeah. We covered a couple of that too. Yeah.
What a weird league that is.
Yeah. Snoozers and Losers is on after Thursday night football. So
actually, there is no Thursday night football this week.
That's true. Well, we'll still do it Thursday night because there's nothing else going on Thursdays.
Maybe we go a little earlier this week. Mm-hmm. Like maybe we do 10 instead of 10:30.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. 11 p.m. Eastern time, 10 Central. Go a little bit earlier because no Thursday night game. So I'm cool with that. But that'll be Thursday night. Yeah. Tomorrow we have the matchups with Kyle and Tony. That'll be quick hits with Tony on the matchups, and then there's a roster on the ropes. So
with Matty Daddy.
Ooh. Matty Daddy. If you have not seen Matty Daddy, jump over there. He's a great dude. He's a lot of fun. And he does a lot of different content for some different he works with clock management and he works with Color Vision. I can't remember exactly the name, but anyways, quite an entertainer.
He's very entertaining.
I love that guy. He's so good. Rams or Cowboys healthy? Who's winning?
If the Cowboys are playing like they played against Washington, nobody in the league will stop them.
I agree. I think Cowboys win that if teams are healthy. So
they looked like a Super Bowl contender Sunday night.
I don't know that they can keep that streak up. If I'm being honest, they're playing just too high of a level. I don't think that they can just keep that. Somebody is going to get them.
That's what I'm afraid of too.
So,
but we'll see.
But we'll ride it while we can. This is our year, baby.
So, did I miss anything exciting discussions that we need to retouch on? Or I just get here too late and miss everything?
It's BoomBust Fantasy Football. Of course, it's exciting. All of it is.
I mean, anything you and Tony couldn't agree on that you need to?
No, we agreed on everything tonight. I mean, it's pretty much all kind of cut and dry.
Gotcha,
yeah, the only thing that's going to stop Dallas is COVID. And unfortunately, I could see that happening too, and that makes me very nervous.
Yeah, that's true.
Gage or Gabriel Davis?
Okay, let me see here. Gage plays Buffalo.
They play each other
against Atlanta, but I mean,
Gabriel Davis isn't playing this week. He's out.
Yeah, I was gonna say him and Beasley are both unvaccinated on the COVID list. I think they're both going to be out.
Yeah, I just pulled him up on Sleeper and said Gabriel Davis not playing week 16, 17. So
I'm not a huge fan of Gage, but sounds like you got to play him.
But now Isaiah Mckenzie might be who you're thinking about there, but I don't trust him to put up those points back-to-back weeks. I don't
know. Against Atlanta, maybe.
Oh, that's true. I guess they are playing Atlanta.
That's tough. I think you'll see more Knox this time. Probably more Emmanuel Sanders. That still feels really fluky to me. The Mckenzie thing.
I think I'm going Gage there. Like if it's Mckenzie or Gage, let's change that question. I know that wasn't the question, but I think I'm going Gage over a Mckenzie even. So
yeah, if it's not Knox or Diggs, I don't think you can count on him this week for Buffalo.
And I won't put Gage in any of my lineups so that he actually performs. Yeah. Let's see, Jonathan. No offense to you guys, but it makes me sick when I get notifications when y'all go live. I took the Ellen semifinal, so you have no reason to watch us anymore. Is what you're telling us,
man. Out of 11 leagues, I'm in 3 finals. That is not great.
I'm in 5 out of 10.
I was only in 4 semis. And I think I made playoffs in 8.
I made out of my 10 leagues, I made playoffs in 8. Semis in 5 and won all 5 of my semis. I'm in 5 finals out of my 10 leagues. So
yeah,
not horrible.
I spent so much time focusing on this stuff. I didn't spend the time caring for my leagues the way I should have.
Yeah, it's tough when you have 11 leagues to
definitely going to cut that down next year.
Dude, I hear you on that. Super sick about missing out on final money. Yeah, there's a lot of pride. Honestly, I want the pride of winning more than I want the money. Typically, I only have one big money league. The other ones aren't huge money, so it's not as big a deal. Actually, most of my leagues don't have any money at all. I think I play in 3 leagues worth any money.
Also, we love you too, Jonathan.
Yeah, we do love having you in here, man. So no offense, but I love that you get those notifications and that you hop on here anyways. So
yeah, we appreciate it.
I don't care that you're annoyed by him. Yes, Greg, go Cowboys. All right. Do you trust Pitts this week against Buffalo? And who's your other option? I don't love it.
Trust is a strong word in that matchup, but at this point, he's playing really well the last couple weeks. I think
not horrible.
I think it coincides with the fact that Gage has been playing better and better. Teams are starting to respect him. I think he's a fine play. Yeah.
Yeah, trust is a tough word. But again, what are your other options, right?
Yeah, it's unlikely you have a better option, but it's possible depending on the matchups your other guys have.
I mean, I have Pitts in as my number 2 tight end in 2 leagues. And on both of those, I have Kittle and Pitts. And so I'm playing Kittle over Pitts. But that's the only one. Yeah, Jay Gore, you're right. No doubt have the strongest team, but not when I need to go perform. Yeah. My hate for Kyler Murray is strong now. Whoa. chill out now. You're the one with Cooper Kupp and Jonathan Taylor, and they didn't perform enough for you either.
But
Just
admittedly, Kyler Murray been doing me dirty too.
Yeah,
So-
but I do love me some Kyler Murray, Boomer Sooner. Just throwing that out there. Sushi Lover, I'm not even going to put that on screen.
Yeah. Hey, if y'all don't win this week, I swear to God, playing Houston, I mean, yeah.
If the Niners can't beat
easy,
Houston,
but the Chargers should have also, so we'll see what happens.
I'm just saying, them Texans coming back, baby.
Yeah, for real. But just kind of briefly retouching on the Pitts question. I mean, I think Andrews, Kittle, Kelsey, Gronk, and Knox are maybe the only ones I'm starting over him. Maybe Goddard. Maybe. He kind of laid an egg this last week, but so did Knox. But, I mean, he's still top 6 or 7 for me this week. So,
bro, Jonathan, you got to get on when your notification actually comes in. You can't wait 45 minutes and then pop on. Of course, Jimmy G's out. We've already talked about that. And the effects that it has on Kittle. Man, you're going to have to rewind this video and watch it all over again. God. Not recapping it for you.
Greg, is that English?
This looks like bald guy. Is that you? Fantasy football guy. Is that you on the? Are you actually Greg?
Oh, and what the jigga out? What the?
Wait, is that Jaguars running back's last name?
Do you know that? You know the Joe Pesci character, the bad guy in Home Alone, when you're like, that's what that looks like to me.
Oh, Jonathan was saying, so any hope with the Niners should be dead with Jimmy G out.
It'll look different, but I wouldn't say it's dead. We'll see what happens. They are playing Houston, so it should be fine this week. But
Greg appreciates your humor, Kyle.
I'm glad somebody did.
This show has taken a turn, switching you for Tony. Really
Tony's coming in with facts. I'm coming in with shit talk and jokes.
Just that's hilarious. Yeah, I don't got nothing.
I probably should have just let Tony finish it, bro.
No. Yeah, the Niners are just.
He's more boom. I'm more bust. It is what it is.
Yeah, we both got a little bust in us. Jonathan, I'm not putting that on screen either.
Jonathan, I will fight you.
I think you sent us your mailing address. Keep that in mind.
Oh, that's true.
So we know where to find you.
You're getting a box of dog shit. I'm gonna tell Mailman to set it on fire when he delivers it.
No, somehow we'll send it already on fire. I don't know how we're gonna do it, but we'll
figure
find
it out.
a way.
We'll find a drone and we'll just
aliens. You know.
Exactly.
Oh, Jonathan's been drinking.
Titans
Cowboys in the Super Bowl.
Okay, bro. Okay.
We'll see you there, Jonathan. If it happens, we'll see you there.
Where is the Super Bowl this year? I don't even remember.
I honestly don't know.
I want to say LA, but
I think that might be right. Actually, I think it might be out in LA. I do know though. Today I started making all my plans and booking my flights and hotel reservations to go to the NFL draft in Las Vegas.
It is. It's in SoFi Stadium in LA. Okay.
Nice. So, be going to Vegas with a lot of the other Fantasy Football Network fellas. We'll be meeting up there, and we'll be doing some business, meeting with some places out there for the Las Vegas conference that Seven is working on, and just hanging out and enjoying some football together and talking some business for the next season.
I really wish I could go on that trip, but this is not a good time of year for me at work to be leaving.
I'll zoom you in.
There you
go. Greg says, I have Kittle and Goddard. Going Kittle.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah, I think so.
Even with Lance, I think that's a fine play.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I don't like him quite as much, But Goddard, I don't know that I trust Goddard. Goddard's had some good games. Actually, how did he do? I'm going to look up some Goddard really quick just to double check what I'm thinking. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Is they play Washington again, and the last time he played Washington, he had 20.5 points because he had 7 receptions for 135 yards. He didn't even score a touchdown, and he had over 20 points. So that's pretty good. And Washington let Dalton Schultz have a nice day too. So really, I might actually go Goddard there.
I'm sticking with Kittle.
I love Kittle. But I think I'm going Goddard, if I'm being completely honest, because Goddard that Washington defense has been letting tight ends just annihilate them. Let me see.
Everybody annihilate him, but I can't sit my boy Kittle.
You're gonna look at Dalton Schultz against.
He's been on fire except for last week.
Dalton Schultz just tore him up for a ton too. Yeah, I think I'm going Goddard there.
Who's your flex? Can you not start both?
Yeah. Oh, but Jonathan here says Kittle did nothing last week with Jimmy G in. Yeah, I agree. He sucked. Targeted 3 times. Yeah, that makes me nervous. I think I like him over Pitts still. But I think I like Goddard over Kittle this week.
Corey doesn't know what he's talking about.
I'm an idiot. Yeah, I feel like that's where my gut's going there.
For me, it's Kittle for sure over Goddard, Greg. He's going Goddard. Sorry,
I'm going Goddard. I'm going Goddard. Kyle's going Kittle. I'm Boom. He's Bust. Just keep that in mind.
It's fair.
Kyle's like, I don't have an argument for that. It's actually not true. When we started this, I thought I would be the Bust and Kyle would be the Boom. We won't know until the end of each season who was Boom and who was Bust.
We should have been tracking this stuff better, I feel like.
Well, we are. I'm in 5 finals, year in 3, so. Are you?
Well,
yeah, in the 3.
You had better luck than me. We'll say that.
Well, your 3 of mine are the same 3 as yours, right?
My best teams, I didn't make it.
Same.
Best on paper. They just didn't perform when I needed them to. Much like Jonathan was saying.
Jonathan does not like Kittle. He's on his shit list. He can go back to IR or retire now. So,
what?
Eek.
That's my guy.
Exactly. Halftime show. What the hell does that mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Am I going to do a halftime show? I might do a halftime show.
You talking about, are we live streaming the flaming box of dog shit that Jonathan's getting during halftime this weekend? Maybe.
Might do it.
Also Sunday, we will, or at least I will, be here from 11 Central all the way to the end of the second slate of games for finals week. We'll be doing play-by-play all day. It's been a little while with all the holidays and everything, but for finals week, I'll be here all day for you with my play-by-plays.
We doing it. I won't be here all day, but
whether you like it or not,
someone will be on here doing it, covering it. I mean,
Jonathan, I'll make sure it makes it in the mailbox for you. Hopefully, it's a white mailbox. I hope it's a white mailbox.
Oh yeah. I hope it's large because it's going to be a large package.
I have a German Shepherd. Imagine the size of those turds. Big box. Let's save them up all week.
Yeah, you're right. We should probably go with a dog.
Well, I'm not crapping in a box.
Oh, too funny. Yeah, so Greg, here's the thing though. Last week, fine, but Goddard hasn't done anything against the Giants. Both times he's played the Giants, he hasn't done anything. But the last time he played Washington, he had an amazing game.
Doesn't mean he'll do it this time, though.
He may not, but Schultz, he had a great game in week 15. Then Schultz had an amazing game against Washington week 16. And now Goddard gets him again in week 17. That team is so defeated. Like, Washington is so defeated right now that these offenses can do whatever the hell they want. So I'm taking Hurts and Goddard in that matchup this week. I feel it. Feel it in my bones.
See, Greg, isn't it more fun over here on YouTube than over on Instagram? When all you can see is Corey's mug.
Yeah, who the hell wants to see that? Other than they can read my entire shirt on Instagram, which says, "We interrupt this marriage to bring you fantasy football." My wife really loves that. So, you know. Oh, you came over here for the full effect on championship week. Yep. Faux show. Love it.
Next year, you better be on this side every week. Well, off season too.
Yeah. Yeah. We better see you in our chats, in our little chatty chats. I don't know how long we'll be. Yeah, I think next year we'll still do the Instagram thing, but we'll see. We'll see, you know. But anyways, Kyle, let's wrap this up, man. I know you just got on here, but
I know I hadn't been on that long.
I know. What a delight. I mean, that sucks. Yeah, you're right. Oh, Jonathan wants to know what the hell is championship week? Yeah. We'll explain it to you later. It's like this magical thing, kind of like Santa Claus. We'll tell you. We'll tell you all about it. Anyways, Greg, you got a couple more days to think on that tight end. So, you know, just keep your.
Greg, here's what you do. Come back tomorrow night for matchups and ask Tony what his opinion is. And
also,
he'll break the tie for us.
Also, you just start the one that doesn't come down with COVID.
There you go. That's an absolute win.
Bro, we can only answer this for you so many times. Allen and Brady, amazing quarterbacks this week. And I'm still saying Bucks and Bills.
Do you even fantasy football, bro? Like,
you can't go wrong really with those defenses, but Bucks and Bills for me. I don't care that Saints are the number 2 rank on your ranks or anything. That's who I'm going with. You start the Saints over the Bills if you want. I'm just going with that.
Well, if I remember right last night, and I agree still, I'd rather have the Saints over the Bills.
Oh, you would too? You would?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's who he's going with. Oh, who's on the halftime show at Super Bowl is who he wants to know.
Oh.
With the halftime show.
I don't even know. Hold on.
Nah. You know, people were really mad about the weekend performance.
I just dropped everything.
People were not happy about the weekend, and I thought it was fantastic. I think the weekend's really good.
Looks like Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Dr. Dre, Mary J. Blige, and Kendrick Lamar will headline, is what it says.
Interesting.
That's a lot of people. Like, a lot of people.
That's funny. They have a huge performance of COVID and masks and stuff last year, and then this year, let's just bring everyone on stage together.
Yeah, they got all kinds of people. So that's going to be wild.
I bet they're putting together something pretty damn cool.
Yeah, I bet.
With that stadium and
that'll be a good
that
show.
many people, I bet that's going to be pretty cool.
Well, that's why they've got so many people, because they all probably live in Hollywood anyways, and that's where the game's
It's easy to get them. I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know how enjoyable. I bet they make it cool, though. I bet it's a cool performance. It'll be interesting. I'm curious to watch.
Greg, Jonathan, I'm with you. It's not my first choice of music, but I do think it'll be entertaining still.
Halftime show would have been lit in 2002. Oh, so true. So true. Showing our age there. Anyways, alrighty, Kyle, let's sign off of here. And we'll check all you guys tomorrow night, Thursday night, Sunday. We better see you guys around. Love you guys. We'll talk to you later.